All right, Coach Patel. Took a trip to Central Texas last weekend and had a couple tough matchups. Lost in overtime on a heartbreaker to St. Edwards, and then had a defensive battle against St. Mary's where it seemed like nobody could really hit a shot. Talk to me about your team's performance overall and just what were your thoughts from the games?
Two just heartbreaking losses for us. St. Ed's game, we're up 2 with 6 seconds to go in regulation. Very questionable call, I thought, at the end to send it to overtime by the officials, but that's how it goes. Then you got to go take care of business overtime, and we just didn't. Our guys were gassed, and credit to St. Ed's. I mean, they run such a complex offensive scheme. We were chasing around shooters the entire game, and I thought we did a great job. I mean, they averaged 10 made threes a game, and we held them to 6. And so defensively, I thought our guys did what they were supposed to, but I thought it caused a lot of fatigue for us, especially when we got into overtime. And then we went down to St. Mary's, and it was just a slugfest. It was a ugly game, very physical in the paint. Neither team was very good offensively as far as hitting shots and things like that. It was a game where the refs really let both teams play and let it be very physical. So points were hard to come by, and we just couldn't score enough at the end of the day. We missed some really, really good looks from the three-point line, and you just can't go 3 for 23 from the three-point line in a game like that and expect to win.
And a bit of a tough task ahead in terms of the standings. 3.5 games behind for the final spot in the tournament. So just, what are the exact clinching scenarios, if you know off the top of your head, and what must be done to just finish the season strong and make sure you at least give yourself a chance to survive?
My message to the team was just that. I mean, I don't know what the scenarios and all that are at this stage. Last year we needed to win to get in, and we won 3 straight, including beating Dallas Baptist, who was number 3 in the country last year, to get in. And so that's what we talked about after the game is, it's in our hands if we go out and win games. We can't control other people's scores at this stage, but we can control what we do on Monday, and that's what we talked about as soon as it ended. So can't tell you exact scenarios that it is. I know it's a difficult road ahead for us to get in at this stage, but we're going to put our best foot forward and try to win the games that's left on our schedule.
And going back to Thursday night, you led for the majority of the game. You had a 13-point lead in the first half, and then things changed in the second half in overtime. Just what went wrong for you in the second half, and what must be done or what kind of second half adjustments do you plan to make going forward?
Well, it really wasn't what went wrong in the second half. We were up 13 in the first half, but that quickly dwindled down to a 2-point game in the first half. And we had 3 guys miss 3 straight threes, and they came down in transition and scored 3 straight possessions. And so it's kind of been the story of our offensive season this semester. It feels like as we go through droughts where we can't score, and St. Ed's is a very good offensive team. That's just no question about it. They average over 80 a game. Like I said, they're difficult to guard, and they got really good 3-point shooters, and a very good interior player inside. So I don't know about adjustments and things like that. I thought we played a pretty even game. That's why it went to overtime. So we just got to do a better job of finishing. We've lost so many one-possession games. I can't tell you how many we've lost by 5 or less at this stage this semester, but it's been frustrating. But you look at every game, and it's almost a different reason why in every single game that it comes to that. But you're either that close or you're that far away, and I don't know which way we want to look at it right now. But we just got to do a better job of finishing.
Despite the close losses and whatnot, these guys continue to play hard. They continue to keep playing for you and keep playing for each other. What does that say about them as individuals?
We just got a really good group. It's been a fun group. I said that, even after the loss Saturday. I've really enjoyed coaching this team the last month and a half. They come to work every day. When it's practice time, they practice hard. When it's game time, they play hard. We've had some things that have been very unfortunate throughout the year, which happens to teams, injuries and whatnot. And it's just been a hard year as far as just finding continuity with our roster and changing day to day and game to game, it feels like. And so it's been hard for them, but I just think we got some really good kids in that locker room, and they want to win, they want to do right. They know we got 2 seniors on this team, and they're leaving it out there for those 2 guys, because we want to see those 2 go out the right way and try to win as many as we can. Because that's what I've told our underclassmen is you hope when you're a senior that the guys underneath you are giving you everything that they have, in your last year. And so that's what my challenge to them is going to continue to be, is just do it for the 2 guys that this is going to be their last year of playing college basketball.
Coach, kind of walk me through something that you kind of mentioned earlier. So you mentioned during the St. Mary's game, it was very physical, nobody's getting any calls, but in my experience with sports in general, it seems like all across the sport of basketball, there's coaches who really like those games where they don't get the calls so they can be physical, but then you also see coaches who are really up against the wall, like, why aren't you making these calls? in a situation like this, where do you think you stand whenever, because we've heard you both sides, where you're not getting the calls you think you should be getting, and then also there are calls you think shouldn't be said. So kind of, where does that kind of put you from a coaching perspective, kind of your philosophy with that?
My thing is just consistency, and that's what I tell and echo to the officials during any game is, if we're going to call something on one end, let's call it on the other, and if we're going to call something in the first half, then let's call it in the second half, and I think, the refs are people, everyone's different, and I think everyone sees the game differently, so everyone's going to officiate the game differently. So, I think we got to also adjust to the crew that we have sometimes, and we had two different crews on opposite spectrums on Thursday and Saturday, probably some ticky-tack stuff on Thursday that I don't generally like, one which took it to overtime, and then, is more of a, hey, let them play style on Saturday, which, in those games, I like those games, where you get a little frustrated is when they do finally call something, is it consistent? Is it on both ends? Are they just picking and choosing now because they know they need to call it? But, in the St. Mary's game, neither team went to bonus in the first half, which is, very unique because you just don't see that anymore. With team or the refs just letting people play like that. So, we liked it. I mean, the opposing coach is a very close friend of mine, Bubba Meyer, over 20 years of friendship. And, I told him after the game either that was a great defensive game or that was a really bad offensive game by both our teams. So, but we were both at halftime really pleased that they're just letting us play because I think he coaches a very physical, aggressive defensive style of play, as do we. And so it was fun just getting to just duke it out a little bit without worrying about the officials or foul trouble.
And then this week, of course, your last home games of the regular season, taking on Midwestern State on Thursday and Lubbock Christian on Saturday. You faced them earlier this year. What are some things you picked up from those first matchups that you want to implement in the second matchup and hope to have the Rams come out on top?
It's two teams we saw a long time ago. We saw them in December before Christmas break, before graduation, and both teams are completely different, as is ours. We had players playing then that are no longer playing for us now, and same thing with their teams. They've had some injuries and things like that. Both teams have made some adjustments to the guys that they're playing as well. But Lubbock Christian, very good, very well-coached team. They're one of the best teams in our region once again. They just have a really, really good group that they defend well, they score together, they play well together. They've just done an incredible job and had an incredible season this year. And then Midwestern, Coach Trilly's in his first year, and I think he's doing a great job. They beat us down at their place. Two completely different style of plays we're going to see, kind of more of a packed-in style of defense in Lubbock and more of aggressive in passing lanes in Lubbock from the last times we played them. And so, it makes it hard because you're playing one style of play on a Thursday and then another style of play on a Saturday. But that's the unique thing about our league, and our league having 17 teams in the league, is there's so many coaches that do it so many different ways. It's just the best teams are able to adjust as quick as possible, and the best players are the ones that can adjust as quick as possible as well. So excited to play both this week, Lubbock first and then Midwestern second, and just another opportunity for our team to get on the floor and compete, and I'm really excited about that. But, it's not easy games, just because they're at home. It's not like home is the answer, because I know both teams are very good, and, we'll have our hands full in both of them this week.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.